All right, everyone. We are now joined by today's winner of the Cookout 400 at Richmond Raceway, Chris Buescher, driver of the number 17 Fast and All Forward for RFK Racing. Chris, I guess I just got to ask what was going through your head when the caution came out there in the final 10 laps.
Yeah, that was inevitable. We knew it was coming. I knew when we started that run, and it was winding down the laps from 60 to 40 to 20 to 15. I knew it was coming. So mentally was prepared for it, and when it did come out there close to the end, knew we were going to be kind of looking at I don't think it was green white checker, but pretty close to it, right? So it's hard from inside to have a good idea what's going on all around the track, but mentally we were prepared for it, and I also knew that our Fast Mustang fired off so good that I really wasn't worried about it either. Our takeoff speed was so good today, from green flag stops to restarts. We were always moving forward. Just a really fast race car that basically made me feel like no matter what the circumstances there towards the end, we were going to be in really good shape.
All right, we'll open up to questions. If you have a question, just raise your hand. We'll start with Kelly, and then we'll go to Jordan, and then over the left.
GroundleRacer.com. Chris, do you remember what you said to us after finishing third here in this race a year ago?
I do not know. Probably said third sucks.
You had said that, it wasn't that long ago you wanted to fill this place with water or cover it with dirt or just get rid of it. So
Yeah.
to now come back and win this race, I mean, does it seem a little bit unbelievable how quickly things have turned here for this team?
Yeah, in a way. I do remember that. I didn't know that's the quote you were referring to, because I feel like I'm going to get some bad looks when I say that. But this racetrack where I made my first NASCAR start, filling in for T-Bane here back in 2011. That one went okay, and then since then I've struggled here through the years, and have really fought to kind of find our way, and so it just felt like it's taken a long time to get my legs up underneath me here, which is surprising because I feel like it's a track that I want to like and have always tried to enjoy, and it seems like it just sweeps your legs out every time we come here after the first stage, and you're sitting there wondering what happened. So what I will say is RFK has made some massive leaps, and we've been in a good spot the last 18 months, and even I look at the fall race was a huge turnaround for us here last year, but even the spring race was good for us. We didn't get the result that we should have, but we were very competitive at times during that race. So, I won't sit here and say Richmond's my favorite track right now because it doesn't turn around quite that quick. We laughed a lot growing up. We won a bunch of races at Toledo, Ohio, ARCA Racing, and it still wasn't my favorite racetrack. So, it's going to take a little bit more yet, but I have surely come a long way here, and I'm definitely not trying to sink it in the Atlantic. So, big progress, and I think as drivers we like places that we run well at, and it surely helps. It's part of the reason why I enjoy road racing or super speedway racing at times, short track racing. Bristol's been my favorite track for a long time, and I've always been able to run good there, whereas this one's taken a little bit more work. So, I'm moving on up. I'm not quite there trying to tear it down at this point. Now I'm sitting here thinking this is a place that we have great opportunity at, and thought that in the spring. So it really is amazing how just a very short period of time can really change your opinion on a place.
And I wanted to ask about Scott. You two, of course, had success in the Xfinity Series, came back together just a couple years ago on this 17-team program. As much as you're enjoying now how your Cup career is going, how much do you also have that sense of satisfaction to do it with Scott, who's had a very up-and-down career as a crew chief in the Cup Series?
Yeah, I mean, it's, we think if you go back to 2015, we won our championship in the Fast and All Mustang back then on the Xfinity side, and we left Homestead and pretty much got to the banquet, and pretty much we all knew as a team that we didn't have any plans going forward, that nobody knew where they were going to end up, and it wasn't a good place for anybody, and it really took away some of the celebration that you wanted to enjoy. When you're sitting there knowing that everybody's got to figure out what they're going to do for work the next year, and so to be able to reunite with with Scott on top of the box, and to be able to have that success, to have Mike Herman Jr. on the spotter stand again, like we did back then as well, and kind of picking up where we had left off several years back now. That gives you a good sense of satisfaction as we're all able to work together and start to recreate some of the successes from back then. So, it's surely a big win this time, knowing that this gives us a playoff eligibility. The Bristol win, the night race last year, is top of my bucket list, and ecstatic to win that race. The thing it was missing was the fact that we weren't in the playoffs at that time. So now we get to go win another Bristol race, and that'll send us into the next round, and then that just gives us a whole extra level of confidence going into these last 15 races on the season. So pretty awesome. Pretty solid day here. That was just something we've talked about at RFK as an organization. Is we've been very competitive at a lot of different styles of racetracks. We've been capable of running fifth, and not capable of fighting for wins at as many as we had hoped. And we've been close at several, and and both our cars have had speed at different styles. So it's surely know that we've been close, but we knew it was going to take a strong execution and good pit stops, good strategy. Good decision on the racetrack, and we were able to put all that together today, as well as having a really fast Ford Mustang to go along with it. So it's amazing how much easier my job gets when we're able to bring these fast race cars to the racetrack, and just so proud of everybody at RFK for what we've been able to turn around and accomplish, and really excited to see what's in store for us over the next several months.
Go to Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, the Athletic. Do you like races like this with long stretches of green flag racing and not a lot of cautions and the field is strung out?
Definitely have times where I do. When you're having a bad day, all you want is a caution. So I've been on that side of it at this very racetrack, and it also on the flip side, like a race like today, especially when it's hot and that it's getting to some drivers and they're having to fight internal battles as well. I love that. I love that opportunity for us to know that you trained for this, you worked hard to be ready for these hot races and these long stretches, and that you're in as good a place as anybody. And when you have a fast race car, and we know that we can see things play out when we fire off into some of these runs, and everybody on the box has a strategy picked out and that we're committing to. We get to see that play out. Not get something to really throw off half the field. Similar to like Atlanta, when the caution just comes at the wrong time and haven't been able to quite cycle everything out. That's very frustrating. So yes, in a lot of ways, I like to see everything be able to play out and take into account all the different aspects of our sport and see everything play out in a way that everybody gets to see their part in it come around and see how their decisions impacted the day and how that got us to victory lane.
You were effectively in the playoffs before today. I mean, things would have had to go completely sideways for you, and some other things would have happened. But now you're in. And has that really kind of sunk in that you're in the playoffs, and what does that mean?
It means we don't have to talk about points anymore, and I love that. So I've been fairly vocal for myself, especially. Not one to shout, but I hate points racing. I've always hated points racing, and I didn't want us to get in that trap that the 17 team was points racing as we've been heading towards the cutoff for the playoffs. And I've said that consistently, and we've talked about that as a team that obviously it has to be in the back of our minds because we are in a good spot in points. We've worked hard to have that consistency, but we're not indestructible where we were at, and that a win would take care of everything. And that's our sport. Winning fixes everything, and it fixes the points talk. It fixes morale. It fixes bad weekends before. Everything can be changed by winning. So, from that standpoint, that's it's awesome that we are in the playoffs. That was part of our goal at the beginning of this season. As RFK, we talked about winning races, making the playoffs and being able to be a contender in the playoffs. You know, we don't want to be a placeholder by any means either. And when I look at the races that we have in the first half of the playoffs, especially, I feel really confident that we can be a contender and we can move forward.
Chris, we're going to go over to your left, and then we'll go to Adam over here.
All right. Chris Powell, Couch Coach Live. Chris, congratulations on the win tonight.
Thank you.
And so, obviously, you are in the playoffs. So what is pretty much the strategy in these Final Four races leading up to the playoffs? I know you talked about confidence and what have you. So any other strategies in these next 4 weeks getting geared up for the playoffs?
Yeah, what it's going to help the most is Daytona. You know, we've I've been in the situation we go to Daytona and you've had to circle it as this is our last ditch effort. That we're right on a cutoff. Points are going to swing this way or that way. There's going to be accidents. Been in must-win situations for that, and it's not reasonable to get to Daytona and say this is our one and only chance, because it's we've had a chance to win races all the way up to that cutoff. The industry has. Every team has had chances to win races everywhere, and I feel like if you go try and points race, you get to the point where you didn't accumulate enough, and then you circle that as a must-win, and that's where things can go wrong or mistakes can be made, and it just puts a whole lot of extra pressure on everybody for one race that's not really needed. I think if you approach every race like that's the one you should have circled, then it puts you in a better spot there. So it's going to get us to Daytona in a place where we knew we were going to have a pretty good points cushion, as long as nothing went crazy over the next couple of weeks, as long as we were smart and didn't get wiped out. We have Michigan coming up, should be pretty good. 2 road courses, which has been really strong for RFK and myself. I have really enjoyed those and feel like we have a chance to win more races before the cutoff. So it lets us go into those and maybe be a little bit more aggressive or take a little bit more chance on strategy. But again, it helps you go into Daytona without that cloud lingering over, knowing that anything could happen this track. You could very easily be wiped out, as well as 15 other cars in one accident, and not be any of y'all's doing it, and can really shake up our playoff run. So we're out of that conversation now. We don't have to worry about all that. So that's where it's so nice from where I'm sitting, is we get to go race the way we talk about racing all the time, but we don't even have to have that little bit of thought in the back of our minds that we need to be thinking about points racing.
Chris, we'll go over to your right to Adam, and then to Owen.
Adam Cheek, frontstretch.com. Chris, it's easy to point to the short tracks as a place where you guys have found some speed. You won Bristol last year. Brad was fast there. You guys are both fast today. And you hounded Harvick for the win last year at Richmond too. But how does that speak to the evolution of RFK the last couple of years and how much you guys have improved? Yeah,
so I would say that it's probably showed up in results, probably stronger short track racing. And, obviously a few wins now and been in the hunt for several. But what I'm proud of as RFK as a group is we don't have to just talk about short track racing. We can talk about super speedway racing and know that we're going to be up front battling for wins, leading laps. We can talk about road course racing and know that we've been very competitive at a lot of those and been battling for wins. We can talk about some mile and a halves and be in the conversation there as well. Maybe not quite as strong as and not have the results, but we've had moments at a lot of different styles of racetracks. That's what I'm most proud of. It would be great if we just stepped up our short track program and we were competitive at these styles of racetracks, but that would put you in a place where we'd be leaving Richmond here tonight and saying we don't have another shot until Bristol maybe. I don't know what the first one will be, but that's not where we're at. We have racetracks that we're going to be competitive at every week. We do not have to circle racetracks as our chance, or this is where we're going to be really good and we're going to have to just get through this week. We haven't had that this season, and really didn't have a whole lot of that last season as well. Now, last season was a building season, and it took a lot of work to get there, and to see results from all that work is big for us. So like you said, the short tracks are where the results are showing up the most, but what I'm proud of as an organization is we have stepped it up across the board every single week.
Richmond specifically, like you did so well here last year, hounded Harvick for the lead there for a while at the end. What is it about this place you win here this year?
Man, I wish I knew. I would have figured it out a whole many years ago, because I've spent more time simulating this place. I've studied as much video as anywhere when it comes to this one, and I just sit here and watch SMT and try and figure out what I've done wrong here for so long, and I just don't feel like I've changed a whole lot about what I do. I think we have better cars at RFK. We've had very good strategy. We've had good pit crews. We've had a lot of things come around. The next gen car obviously hit a big reset in kind of the feel and style of racing, and so some of that has clicked a little bit better for me at a racetrack like this. Part of you says maybe the shifting has changed it, but even today there was large parts of the race where we stopped shifting. So I don't know that that's necessarily it. It's I don't have the right answer for that one, and because if I did, I would have changed something a really long time ago.
Go to Owen and then back left.
Hey, Chris. Owen Johnson, cupscene.com. How helpful is this performance to get growth at RFK, especially on the sponsorship and financial side?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously had a large showing of Fastenal guests here, and our partners with Navistar here, and a massive group from BuildSubmarines.com here for the weekend. That is huge for us to be able to have a showing like this with everybody here, and to just show that that we can talk about the progression, and we can sit down and tell everybody about what we've done better, what we've invested in, what our tools look like now, how our cars look better now, how they're built nicer, and all that is true, but it has to show up on the racetrack on Sunday, and that's what days like today do. That proves that we're not trying to fluff anything, that we're legitimate in what we've invested into this program and what everybody's working on to make sure that we are competitive, that we are not okay with running top 10. That's a huge step in the right direction from a couple years back, but we weren't sitting stagnant, and so that's it's special to have such a large presence here from our partners, and to be able to make this happen today was definitely big.
Go to Steven on your left over there, Chris.
Hello. First of all, congratulations, Steven Sykes and Live and Global Media.
Thank you.
Two questions. One, what was your track strategy regarding your tires and fuel with today coming from practice? Because there was a lot of different drivers say they were a little bit tight and loose, and everybody from the various broadcasts was saying to their teams, we need to loosen up, or they were spinning out in the back. The second question is coming from New Hampshire. In the previous races, the one you finished like third, the other ones were like 10, 15, 13. What was the mindset in terms of getting to Richmond to change to get here?
Yeah, it's a good question. For kind of to start your second question, we've found a baseline that's helped us, kind of show up every week with something that's more tried and true, and kind of trying to tune around that and use our tools to improve on it. So, we're not sitting still. What we did today was not what we ran here in the fall and last year, and we know that our competition is not sitting still, and we can't either. So, you're constantly working to make improvements, and so yes, we would go back to New Hampshire and look at some of the things we liked from there and some of the things we didn't. We've looked at things from Phoenix at the beginning of the season. We've had stuff that's come from road course racing that we've been able to apply. There's a constant building process. It's probably escalated with this car and the schedule that we have with our 20-minute practice sessions. It goes so fast. We're very limited on what we can actually adjust in that moment or in those 20 minutes. So we have to rely on what we learned from the previous race to continue to get better. And so that's definitely something that we're working on week in, week out, and we're constantly looking back through notes from the last race that has anything applicable to this style of racetrack. And so, when you look at that, and then kind of talking about balance and practice, we were in the first group, which was great for practice because we fired off on a green racetrack, put down some stupid fast laps, and we averaged out first on long run speed, and I'm sitting here thinking, oh, we're in a great place, and then we went to qualify, and then that Group 1, the entire Group 1 struggled, and that kind of dejects you a little bit. That kind of kicks you right back down. So qualified, was it 26 maybe? It was deep in the field, and knew we had a lot of work to do, and a lot of it was just understanding that Richmond is one of the most sensitive racetracks when it comes to rubber being laid down, to temperature, to sunlight or cloud cover, or even some of the shade that comes over turns 3 and 4 later in some of our evening races. So it's a very tough track to get a grasp on because it is changing so quickly. But what I will say is our team did a really good job at working ahead of the race, to where we did not make large adjustments in the race today. That I was very happy with what we had for a short run car, for a long run car, and that we were very much working in very small increments, so that two things that it's good because we're not trying to take some guesses and some big swings at it, but also gives our pit crews less to do on pit road and lets them be the absolute best that they can be on pit road as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any final questions for Chris? No? Chris, congratulations. I think we have one more thing for you to do up here.
Sounds good. Oh, the Brad Keselowski gong. Is that what we've heard about?